Good morning. It is Friday, February 10th, and today is day 31 of the legislative session. We hit the halfway point yesterday, so we're halfway done with the session. And let me just tell you, this has been an action-packed week at the state capitol with a lot of really good pieces of legislation moving forward. The biggest news that came out of this week was the state Senate unveiled their tax plan on Wednesday. Now, this plan is supported by the West Virginia Chamber of Commerce. We spoke at the press conference with the state Senate and spoke very favorably of what they were looking to do. So here's the quick rundown. The plan would cost about $600 million, which the state Senate is very confident is a cut that we can make without having to come back in the future and raising other revenues or cutting further into the budget. So it would have a 15% cut on the personal income tax with some triggers for further cuts to the personal income tax based on sales tax collections. It would also eliminate the marriage penalty. It would provide tax relief to disabled veterans. It would also do a full rebate for vehicles. That was one of the things the governor had talked about back during the campaign related to Amendment 2. But this bill would do a full rebate to your personal property taxes on your vehicles. And it would also do a 50% rebate on personal property taxes that are paid by small businesses. So, the plan was unveiled. It's a lot different than what the House had sent over earlier in the session. However, what we are hearing is that negotiations are going very well right now between the House, the Senate, and the governor. So that is all positive news related to taxes. Now, on the healthcare front, yesterday the Senate Health Committee ran out Senate Bill 268, which is the PEIA reform bill. There was a bill passed earlier in the session, but this one is taking a more comprehensive approach and is really the vehicle that has been worked out between the House and the Senate. A couple of the major things it's going to do is it's going to go ahead and up the reimbursement rate for hospitals to 110% of Medicare. Currently, it's 50%. It's also going to go ahead and force the Finance Board of PEIA to get back to an 80-20 payment mixture to try to go ahead and make sure that PEIA is fiscally sound moving into the future. We expect more action to come with PEIA in the future, but that is where they are right now. That bill passed Senate Health yesterday and is going to continue moving through the process. On the energy front, today the House of Delegates will have on third reading a supplemental appropriation. That is House Bill 2882. That is the supplemental appropriation to bring Form Energy into Hancock County. Now, Form Energy is going to be doing some really incredible things with brand new battery technology, and it's going to be located on a part of the former Weirton Steel site. So this is a really big development. Yesterday, they spent a long time on Second Amendment stage. However, they defeated any problematic amendments to the supplemental appropriation, and we do expect it to pass in the House of Delegates today, and that the Senate will hopefully take it up and move it very quickly next week. This is a very big investment that will be coming to West Virginia, and so we're really excited and just want to give a kudos to Mike Graney and Mitch Carmichael, the Department of Economic Development, and everybody else who's worked so hard to bring this project to West Virginia. Also on energy, yesterday the House Economic Development Committee quickly took up and passed out Senate Bill 188. Now, we've talked about this before. Senate Bill 188 is a bill that would expedite the permitting process for natural gas generation, and it would also direct the Secretary of Economic Development to locate sites throughout West Virginia that would be suitable for the building of natural gas generation. There are some things this bill does, some things it doesn't do. So first of all, this bill will not replace any generation in West Virginia. So it will have no impact whatsoever on coal jobs in the state. That is very important. These plants that would be authorized to be built under this bill would be wholesale generators that would generate electricity directly to the grid, PJM. Now, these plants are being built left and right in Pennsylvania and Ohio. We think, on our viewpoint, we would like to have some built here in West Virginia so that we're getting the jobs from construction, the jobs from operating these plants, and the tax base they would bring. This is a very important bill. It came out of committee without any discussion yesterday and is now moving to the House floor. So we have been strong champions. We've been helping to push this, work this bill, and we're hoping to get it out of the House next week and then down to the governor for his signature. Shifting gears a little bit, one other thing I just want to talk to you about, child care. The West Virginia Chamber has given two bills to the legislature to Senate Majority Leader Tom Takubo to be introduced, and both bills were formally introduced this week. The first is Senate Bill 588, which is actually a pretty quick and easy bill. It would change the tax credit from 50% to 100% for businesses that start new daycare facilities. Last year, the Chamber championed Senate Bill 656, which put this whole process in place, but it allowed for a 50% credit to be taken over 5 years. Senate Bill 588 this year would change that 50% credit to a 100% credit. There are several sponsors in the Senate. We're getting more people to sign on to the bill, and we're hopefully going to be able to get that across the finish line this year. The other bill is Senate Bill 592. And when we passed last year's tax credit bill, unfortunately, there was no way to include businesses who already had daycare facilities in place. So we wrote 592 as a way to go ahead and help those employers out. Senate Bill 592 would provide a 100% tax credit on your yearly operations if you are operating a daycare facility. Now, currently this bill has no date, so it could be for daycare centers that were existing, or it would be an option for a business to choose to go that route rather than the tax credit route that was established last year. That bill also has several sponsors. I should mention both have bipartisan sponsorship, but we're really excited to go ahead and start working on these bills and moving them through the process. Now, a business will not be able to utilize both, but the way these bills are currently written, and if that doesn't change throughout the process, a business would really be able to choose, if they decide to open a daycare center, which tax credit route to go. So I want to give a special thanks to Senate Majority Leader Tom Takubo on this issue. He has been a true champion of creating more child care centers in West Virginia and helping with this very critical workforce issue. So he introduced both bills. He is working hard to get additional sponsors and get those bills moving, and we are right there with him. We are very appreciative of the work that the Senate is doing and the House is doing on this issue, and so we're looking forward to moving those. I will check back in with you next week on some issues moving at the Capitol, and as always, feel free to email me, or if you have my cell phone, text me, and I'm happy to go ahead and answer any questions you have and tell you what's going on. But again, thank you for your support of the West Virginia Chamber of Commerce, and I'll check back in next week.